Welcome everyone to our next episode of AI in Action with Dmitry Stepanov. Dimitri's back from his escapades, and welcome back, Dimitri.
Thank you, Dad, for warm welcome. Happy to be back.
Yeah, we're looking forward to carrying on our previous conversation where we were talking about the executive office, when we were talking about the obstacles to adopting AI in healthcare. And we covered a lot of the things that the executive office would really find challenging in healthcare. True. Around the AI space. But today, I think we're focusing on middle management, and we're going to cover things like implementation, oversight, staff training, adoption, workflow integration, performance monitoring, that sort of thing. There are going to be quite a few really meaty topics today. So let's go get straight into it. So you want to give a quick intro to the middle management topic, because you've got some real practical experience now out in the field.
Yeah, I would like. So actually, that's those topics are coming not just from some theoretical research. We see it with our own eyes. We witness those obstacles. We work through them actually as we work with our clients, as we talk to our clients. And actually, one of the interesting obstacles, you would think those on the executive level, they're related to budgetary constraints and maybe to some extent uncertainty in ROI. But that constraint actually exists in the middle management because people are different, right? Some kind of reluctant to adopt new technology. Some are actually jumpy. They want to move on with artificial intelligence. And the middle management, who actually wants to improve their workflows, they want to optimize some business. They want to make some changes in the business, again, to improve it from the business standpoint. One of the obstacles is a budgetary obstacle. So basically, they need to provide description why this specific improvement it's gonna improve the business, it's gonna improve ROI, it's gonna improve this, and it's gonna improve that. And they need to collect this data, they need to present this data. Oh no, they need to make sure that this data actually presented to the right people, to the people who make the changes. They need to present this data, they need to convince that this data actually has some connection with the real world. And then maybe next year this budget will be approved, and maybe next year this proposal will be executed. And I mean, we did talk about this multiple times. Right now, artificial intelligence improving weekly, not annually, as some other technologies or some other approaches. And we see a lot of frustration in this area. We see a lot of kind of disappointment and giving up on pushing artificial intelligence from the middle level standpoint.
Yeah, I think there's a challenge. If you're in the middle management and you want to drive, let's say, a project or some kind of implementation of AI, it always depends on who starts the conversation, isn't it? It's whoever's got the biggest pain point. And often for me, middle management have got the toughest job in the sense of they've got to prove ROI to the senior people, because the senior people are saying, oh, it's too risky, or it's too early. There could be a whole range of reasons why they're saying no. So the middle management have to do a double sales job with their colleagues, as well as with the senior people in the organization. And they have to be able to convince the people around it, hey, it's worth investing this money, because it's not just about the money, it's also about the time. And we know middle management these days, they're being pressured to work more than likely longer hours than the senior people are working often. And the middle management guys have got a lot of responsibility to carry, because they are really in the trenches of their businesses. So quite interesting dynamic, because if the middle management driving the AI, or at least an AI implementation in their business, they really have to know their stuff. And I suppose that's where when you do have conversations with companies, sometimes it will start at the executive level, but A lot of times it will start at the middle management because they're the ones that are feeling the pressure of these mundane, repetitive tasks, and them in the middle management having to look after more junior employees or maybe new employees or even a turnover of staff. So when people are coming and leaving and going, the middle managers have to carry the burden of bringing new people on board and getting people in place. So I can understand that as a challenge for them.
Well, I mean, and it's not just AI. To be frank, it's always been a problem when middle management pushes some technologies to the executive level. Well, I mean, yeah, there are some companies who kind of, I mean, very modern, they're accepting this, but very frequently, even in my past experience, when several very interesting proposals were made, there was extreme resistance from the executive level because they just don't want to make changes. Just comfortable. We're fine. We will be fine for 10 years. We don't want to change. We don't want to risk, as you said. So, and putting aside, as I said, traditional resistance, now we're talking about some unknown technology with unknown return on investment and with unknown a lot of stuff. And that's actually, we're going to the second challenge. It's a lack of technical expertise, including even in the case like we just described it with proposing artificial intelligence. People want to push it, people want to implement it because they see other companies, other businesses are adopting artificial intelligence. But unfortunately, with a lack of technical expertise in the artificial intelligence, it is very difficult to effectively evaluate, select, implement AI solutions. And that's actually can lead to some poor decision makings and, to be frank, some suboptimal outcomes. And now again, you're getting in the situation that you were pushing something to your coworkers, to your management, and suddenly it just doesn't work, and it just or works, but very poorly with no clear results, and money were wasted, time was wasted, and you know what happens in such cases, right? So that's actually is a huge actually challenge, actually what we see right now as well.
There's something I want to just throw in the mix, and I know we didn't really plan for this, but there's something that I've noticed in a lot of organizations. It's probably the first time we've seen in a very long time where there's a big generational overlap. So the millennials who were in their 20s 5-10 years ago are now getting to 30, 35, and I think the top end is 40. You have millennials in middle management. So 30 to 40, there are a lot of millennials. You also have now the Gen Zs coming through. And often in middle management, you got millennials. You got Gen Zs are coming through as the younger generation. Millennials don't really know necessarily how to deal with the Gen Zs. They know how to deal with other millennials.
Right.
And then you have the management who typically are older, 40, 45, 50 plus. So those are the Gen X or even the baby boomer generations, which have a totally different view of technology, skill sets, and even adoption of new things, because they've seen so many things happen in the past that have just fallen flat or cost the company a lot of money. So there would be that resistance where the millennials might be more positive towards it, but the drive will come from potentially even the Gen Zs are quite comfortable with this change.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it's a typical age conflict. Like our elder generations, we know how to do the business. Look how successful we are. Don't teach me, right? And Gen Z is saying, I mean, you don't know what you're doing. You are outdated. There is new technology, and you're not using it. Look, that's cool. That will help. And it's, I guess it's actually been like this for thousands and thousands of years. It's not something new. it's always like this. It just, I guess, how to say, different scale of the conflict and different topics of the conflict. And I think it's normal. It's a part of the human progress and part of the human. It's like there is a progress and there is a control to the progress. So it's kind of balance the system. And so far, we're moving forward, right? I mean,
that's funny.
well, and yes, resistance to change is a challenge. And I mean, well, obviously, Gen Z working from the bottom to the top, but I mean, it's not just Gen Z working at the bottom. You're talking about all kind of generations, and sometimes even Gen Z. I mean, they are not universally progressive, right? I mean, you have all kind of people in all generations, but this typically, I mean, actually, so. Resistance to change, and especially resistance to change to artificial intelligence, is pretty much universal problem on all levels, right? But what middle management, I mean, if middle management wants to push these solutions, that's actually the people who make the change, who actually fight this resistance, who talk to people. Because executive level, he said, well, I mean, we're just gonna be a very progressive company, latest artificial intelligence technologies, guys, everything will be fine, everything will be cool, this is our strategy, let's do it, right? And that's it. And now it's middle management time to do, okay, guys, let's roll our sleeves and let's do some changes here. So what are you complaining about? I mean, right? So all this conversation, all this fighting, it happens on the middle management level, and it's the middle management who actually, as I said, getting through this resistance and actually spending huge amount of time and effort to communicate the benefits of artificial intelligence to their teams. It's just tremendous amount of effort. I mean, I say it, and I actually do it myself. I in our company sometimes I have to do it and I have to push it. Well, I mean, I don't consider myself middle management, but I have several roles in the middle management, and when I do those roles, I see this resistance, and it's very hard to do it, actually, very hard. It's actually very, how to say, again, you kind of want to give up saying, okay, guys, I mean, we just want to do something better. Look, it will benefit you, but people just say, yep. And next day, it's like, no, I see that it's not going anywhere. So you need to find other solution, other words, other message. So continuous process.
Yeah, it's continuous progress, but I think the biggest unlock often is that I've noticed, and maybe you've got more experience in the field now that you've been sort of really getting into the meat and potatoes of this industry, the AI world. What I'm noticing, the biggest unlock is this mentality. Let's call it. This is the way we've always done it. This is comfortable. And this need for change. And the biggest unlock is not so much the AI, but it's a lot to do with the understanding of their workflows, their business processes. And only once they really get to grips with their current workflows and what would look like a better workflow, can you then layer in the AI, which would then magnify the workflow improvement. So the biggest unlock for me in an AI implementation is often getting the people, especially in middle management, to sit down and think, do I need that step? Do I need to be doing that workflow in that way? Let's look at the different workflows across the people that I'm managing. Let's look at my own daily tasks and responsibilities and see where I could potentially not only just bring in efficiencies and more effectiveness, but where I could collapse a lot of steps in a workflow, where I could make them 1 or 2 steps as opposed to 20 steps, and then layering AI in there, and then starting to do automations and AI doing feedback and reflection, and therefore compounding this whole exercise. So my thinking is the unlock is often just somebody sitting down and thinking, what is my workflow? What do I do every day, and what do my people do? So I don't know what you think on that part.
Yeah, that's true. And actually, in When people ask me what AI can do in healthcare or any other industry, I said, well, I mean, it can do everything. And that's actually, well, I mean, getting back to what you said. So if you come up with a solution in general that improves your workflows, reducing number of steps, changing some outdated steps with something more modern, more efficient, but you see that, for example, well, humans by some reason wouldn't do it or wouldn't want to do it, artificial intelligence can be more likely, okay, let's say it's not 100% obvious, right? But more likely artificial intelligence will cover this functionality and will be able to handle it. And actually, that is one of the good places or good times to implement artificial intelligence when company goes through the changes or plans some changes, because I mean it's always happens, right? I mean, new manufacturing process, new administrative process, new compliance, and you need to change your workflow to be compliant. And once you see these changes, that's actually a perfect timing to just squeeze artificial intelligence into those changes, because changes are coming regardless, and you have a good opportunity to bring most appropriate from the today's technology standpoint changes, which is artificial intelligence. Makes sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. So for me, it's that unlock, and also if you think about sometimes the lever or the leverage to get a company into a change mindset, because there was this at one stage change management and companies changing for the sake of changing. There was this at one stage it was all in vogue. It was this fashionable thing to bring in change managers and try to change everything, and then people got tired of it. There was a change fatigue, and it was like, oh, here's another project we've got to do, another project. But I think we've got to the point now where if you are not constantly changing and improving, you got to almost build that into the DNA of the culture of the business. That's the one thing. And the other one for me is with AI and thinking about workflows and so on. It's a really good way to almost force change, is to say, we are implementing this, whatever X is in terms of an AI solution or just doing an AI project. I mean, doing a business analysis and doing some deep dives and understanding various workflows, that in itself starts to force or unlock the change and is the lever often for the senior people to start the middle managers change. But on the flip side, the middle managers don't always have to wait for senior management to give the permission. They can often already start thinking through, what are the steps I'm taking every day to fulfill my job? What are the steps my people under me are taking? And I can already start thinking about places that look good for improvements and automations and improved workflows and AI. Then it's easy to quantify return on investment for an AI project. So it's almost like doing it in reverse, and that's under what do you think about that as maybe a technique or a bit of help or support?
No, you're totally right and absolutely right, and actually works in many cases. But unfortunately, sometimes it hits the wall of resistance from all levels. Who's gonna to change compliance in our company so this new workflow will be in compliance? Do you know that it actually, are you sure it actually can be used and FDA will approve it? Are you sure that is your VNV process actually covers this? Who is gonna make changes in the VNV? Yeah, it's easy for you to change this workflow, but now all departments need to make the changes to be again in compliance. Everything should be synchronized, blah blah blah. Like, who is gonna? Why are you making this change? Why are you making my life hard? Trust me, it's a nightmare sometimes. Well, I mean, I guess eventually everybody will go through this. And again, I mean, it's not something special. It's been like this for many other technologies. Just AI a bit a bit more dynamic and a bit more, I guess, obvious from the beneficial standpoint. You can actually touch it, you can actually see it. It's not like with remember this cloud solutions. Everybody were talking about it, everybody were cool, but no, it's not compliance. It's not, I mean, our data should be here in our building. I'm going to trust my data to Amazon. No way I'm going to do this, right? Now everybody's like, yeah, sure, absolutely, it's a HIPAA compliant. Why are you complaining? Of course, the data going to be in Amazon. I'm not going to keep the data here in the house. It's dangerous. So same will happen with AI. It's gonna be tide will change, and we will see it. Right now, we're all getting through the resistance in all levels and the challenges in all levels.
I want to maybe touch on some of the sort of middle management issues. So middle managers, for me, they have to write a lot of reports.
Yes.
They often have to do board packs or respond to their senior people and so on. And in a simple use case, especially in the healthcare and life sciences space, and probably across lots of industries, it's the creation of report writing or using AI to speed up your weekly or your monthly or your quarterly reports, and start systemizing that in a way that what you can do is the reports can be drawn directly from different tech stacks. For instance, it could be feedback from employees directly into the AI, and then to then use the AI to pull data together. And then as a middle manager, potentially you just give your overview insight into the AI, and it generates a board pack or a quarterly or weekly or a monthly review for the senior managers. And it speeds the things up, but it also brings a consistency, and it almost becomes templated in a way that you can now have comparatives from last month to this month to what does a forecast look like. And you can start generating much better sort of historic reviews and forecasting reports and proposals and things for your middle management in the healthcare space. And I'm seeing that as a quick win for a lot of the middle managers. For instance, they don't have to go through lengthy workflow analysis and so on. They could literally say, you know what, I've got to write endless. I'm spending hours and hours writing reports. Isn't there a way we could rather just put data and get the AI to write the report for me? And the answer is yes, you can.
Yes, you can. Absolutely, you can. Again, as I said, you can put artificial intelligence to summarize anything, to generate anything, to analyze anything, right? And that's actually kind of touches another topic. Middle management and executive management, they talk in the language of OKR and KPIs, right? And that's actually one of the entrances for AI that can be used by people who wants to implement and to push artificial intelligence in company. Well, the structure of OKRs and structure of KPIs reviewed regularly, well, hopefully, right, in the processes. And it is advisable to change or advise to change measurements related to OKR and KPI in the way that they would be, in the way that would show benefits of the artificial intelligence. So maybe it's a start from the end, create metrics, and then propose solutions to improve those metrics. No, that's true, because come on, let's face it, very frequently KPIs, I mean, if they are not done very well, they do measure success in this very narrow area, which frankly doesn't have to be, that doesn't affect a company at all, doesn't affect any other department, but it shows great progress. Like, look, my KPI is growing every month. I'm growing as a professional. So what? Nothing changes around. That's irrelevant. And building proper KPI that actually do affect business. It's do push OKRs. It's very challenging work, and working with people from, I don't know, human resource department if they're involved with executive management if they're working. And again, building it proper helps to show benefits of artificial intelligence. So that's actually one of the challenges with AI. If you don't do it, your KPI might actually drop temporarily because of the artificial intelligence implementation. I mean, they are not real life. They were just created 10 years ago. Somebody was reporting, and yes, and now when I report my KPI, geez, I have 20% drop in my KPI. I'm in trouble. My bonus is gone. My review is gone. I look, my department is growing. The benefits of department like affect the entire company. It doesn't matter. Your KPI is low. That's it. Sorry. That's discouraging as well, right? I mean, obviously, if the company is constructive and HR is flexible, it's going to be fixed and it's going to be reviewed. But still, I mean, you shouldn't. It's just a whole system. I mean, you see, like there's middle management. He needs to work with the current processes. He needs to handle his staff. He needs to push the solution to executive management. He needs to work with HR to make sure that his KPI actually up to date. He needs to find proper vendors. He needs to update his knowledge with artificial intelligence. Sounds like almost impossible work to do, right? I mean, after all, he has his current responsibilities that he needs to do in the decent level, on the decent performance level right now without changes. So it's difficult. It's difficult, but again, there are companies who actually do help to go through those stages to navigate, as we mentioned, about knowledge gaps. So decisions or solutions related to artificial intelligence actually would make sense for the company. Building this roadmap, helping even generate this ROI report that could be presented to the executive management, helping with vendor selection, because actually vendor selection and management also another thing. I mean, how do you select a vendor in artificial intelligence area? Which one is good, which one is not good? How do you interview the vendor? How do you verify that actually they provide decent service based on their description? No way, right? I mean, you actually need to talk. You need to have a knowledge. So there are ways kind of to help with this as well. And I mean, it's a challenge. It's a big complex challenge.
It's a big company, and what throws, especially if you look at vendor management, things like procurement of different services and products, etc.
Right.
These days, to make it even more interesting and challenging for procurement managers and people that are in that sort of space is that they now have to do things like manage the ESG components. So, are the vendors we selecting, are they environmentally friendly? Do they score the carbon neutral points that we need? And what about social impact? Are they do they have slave labor and all that type of thing? And then the governance, in terms of, are we getting the right people that can sustain continuous supply without them going bankrupt or us becoming so reliant or dependent on a particular supplier? What about the risk involved in having one supplier that's critical? And we've seen that with a lot of the tech vendors, for instance. There are only a few chip makers, as an example, on the hardware side. And when there's a supply chain disruption, all of a sudden there's not enough chips available for PCs and so on. So those kind of things, the risks around vendor management are a lot bigger than just selecting the vendor. And you have to do all these reports. And I know that a lot of accountants these days are even tasked with doing the ESG-based reports. If you look at the taxes and other kinds of compliance things, sugar and other things, depending on what sort of components you have, there are regulatory things that also have to be done. So pretty tough job there.
Yeah. That's true, and I guess to find a mentor, find a company who could navigate you, who could help you to answer the questions, to point right directions, maybe help with some technical, if not helping with the technical advising, but at least would point you to the person or to the company who could provide technical advising. You can talk to us, more than welcome. We're ready to answer any questions and maybe help you to create a blueprint for the artificial intelligence implementation, maybe give some ideas related to your business or to your workflows, and kind of save time and money, and God forbid, prevent you from some incorrect implementation, because that's actually worst case scenario. I mean, your company probably will be reluctant to implement artificial intelligence for many next years. Go ahead, again, talk to us, ask our questions. We are more than happy to answer those questions, and more than happy to provide some guidance in this direction.
Yeah, I think that's well summarized. For me, Glorium Technologies is a lot more than just technology people. The strategic support, the training, the guidance, I would say across the board, from senior down to middle, even to entry level people, depending on the organization, understanding business processes and really understanding the strategy component of technology. I think that's for me as a differentiator with Glorium Technologies versus a lot of other companies that are just focused on the tech. And for me, sometimes the tech is not the answer always. You have to have the strategy, and you have to have the let's call it the business mind to think about how this will really impact and improve a company. But that's absolutely spot on. Please contact us. There's a fantastic opportunity to take part in one of our 90-minute presentations where we'll literally come to you, or we'll go, you can come to our offices, or whatever is comfortable for you. We could do it online. We'll go through how AI can support you, and how AI has been implemented in other places, so that you can start benchmarking and seeing where do you stand, where do you sit in terms of where everybody else is. Because we got access to so many different implementations and use cases. It's almost impossible to mention this in about a 20 or 25-minute podcast. But have the conversation, start the conversation. It's going to cost you nothing, but it's well worth that bit of effort for the engagement. But thank you very much, Dimitri. Great to see you back in the saddle, as it were, and looking forward to our next episode. We're talking about I would say what may be termed as blue collar, but let's call it entry level, or starting sort of the more of let's call it the more technical people within organizations,
right,
that are not necessarily managers, but they are often technicians or technical people with a lot of skills, but don't necessarily understand systems. They might never even touch a PC in their job. They might be out in the road doing plumbing, doing all kinds of things, as an example. But if you're if you're working in a lab, you're looking in a microscope, and you're dealing with samples on that, you're not necessarily in front of a PC all day long. So AI may or may not think it's relevant to you. But we'll cover that next time. So looking forward to seeing you in our next episode. Thank you very much for joining us today, and thank you.
It was nice talking to you, Dudley, as well. Thank you.
Thank you. All the best. Bye-bye.